Ya, Assalamualaikum. Selamat petang, Dr. Amy Mazura. Doktor boleh mula.
Terima kasih. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Ya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon. Thank you for Chair Lady kot Chair Lady for giving a short introduction. My name is Amy Izura Ejalil. I'm from School Technology Management and Logistics. And for today, before I start, let's all of us recite Al-Fatihah in order for our majlis ilmu diberkati. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right. First of all, I would like to thanks to SEPMA, especially Dr. Masnita and Dr. Saidi for giving the opportunity for me to share a bit, I can say, my reflection journey of my PhD and then straight away to my research aspiration as well as my teaching inspiration. I hope you can see my slide. Boleh? All right. For maybe some of you look through, I give a bit of background of nature. So at least you guys have an idea what is symbiosis effect. Mostly I know all of you aware it's a simple English. However, the word symbiosis is quite daunting lah. Not all of you are familiar, even not use it your daily usage. However, when I started my journey as an educator, as an academician, when I entered UUM at the year 2002, 20 years ago, I guess, when I start looking at UUM, it's very nature. So you can see forest, all the green. So that the thing is, when I see that, it inspire me to look at the what we call it, the relationship, always observing. And Alhamdulillah, I was pengetua and also a fellow in INASIS for a while. So a very long time within in UUM ecosystem. When you see the nature, you feel the peace. Then you have the feeling of wanted to preserve, wanted to conserve. So that is the starting point when I'm what we call the aspiration up from nature. And it start from there that I'm looking at the biology part. I'm not a biologist. I'm also actually I'm a science student. I always have the thing about National Geography Discovery Channel. I always like to watch and try to understand the relationship between very different organism or very different animals or plants, birds, and how they live with each other. So the observation is there. So when I see and I look and I feel it is inconsistently at peace, in a balanced situation. It means nobody argue with each other like this bird. I think this antelope maybe with the birds with the flower and also most of you know Nemo. So they are living in peace with each other. So that is the first observation when we're looking at symbiosis that I feel this is one example of symbiosis that I see by looking in UUM itself and by understanding that. But I'm not a biologist, I'm not a scientist, but I want to reflect to social science. So that's the first thing that I look. And I think all of you, as a student, some of you are students, some of you are lecturers, academician, researcher. Sometimes this thing, it comes organically. It just entice you, make you think, make you observe and make you think, and then you want to reflect. And then I start questioning. What I question is what I say, why people we are in disagreement. So there's no balance, right? When you see some neighbor tak puas hati, there's always argument, disgruntled. Why people are not at peace? Are we? Uh, why are we not similar to our the animal kingdom? The start of questions. All right. So before I move on, I would like to introduce what is symbiosis. It's a very simple definition. Is ecological relationship. So what I see, there are three. Before when I observing, I try to understand what the name, the concept of symbiosis is. It's actually have three type of relationship category in symbiosis. The one that I really interest on is the mutualism rather than commensalism and parasitism. So I'm looking at the mutualism, why we are in tandem, why we are at peace with each other, why we are willing to ignore our differences and work together. For example, human and gut bacteria. We know bacteria cause problems, but we need guts, the bacteria guts, in order to reduce our acid. When we eat, they are the one that what we call it, make it our enzyme separate our enzyme separate. I'm not, as I say, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a dietitian, but it seems the bacteria helps disintegrated all our food to become vitamin, to become minerals for our body. So it mutually benefited each other. So I'm intrigued. So then then I become more intrigued in regard to human behavior and the ecosystem. So I want to ask anyone the picture. When I say let's relate to Malay proverb, rasa-rasanya apa dia benda tu? Siapa boleh jawab? Anyone? Pernah dengar tak aur dengan tebing?
Benar Doktor.
So that is the extension. When I looking at the symbiosis, at the mutualism, I relate to our old Malay proverb, aur dengan tebing. The aur and tebing are really require each other. First, they are preserving the ecosystem and they're also conserving. And as you can see, we have a lot of what we call ecosystem problem along our coastal line due to a lot of our swamp apa ni, hutan bakau have been deteriorate due to of deforestation. So that is when I reflect balik the Aur and Tebing case, why it is so important that we have to preserve our environment due to this proverb alone, because it reflects to the environment. So then what I do, ideation, research ideation. I look at the issues, I look at the problems, and then we can see there's a high carbon footprint, meaning high people using petrol, have a private car rather than using public transport, climate changes, El Nino, El Nina, very drastic flood situation across the country, across the world actually, and then increase of forest fires, which is not consistent anymore. So climate changes are an issues, and then we see high of pollution, Again, very detrimental issue on food security. And then we have waste. The last is waste. Actually, when I look at carbon footprint, I look at climate changes, I look at pollution, I look at food, not just food security, but food itself. Every single issues are coined, are towards waste, meaning that they are contributed to waste sector. So that is when I started to what we call it, to conceptualize what I want to do for my PhD. So that is the important, when you look at nature, you inspire, and then you try to reflect to your own situation, you observe, and then you have to explore and try to understand the problem at that time, and then you make, as I said, conceptualization of it. Right. This is one of the example. I know you can Google and look at it. It is detrimental issue. We are having this right now, mostly third world country, developing countries, our neighbors. We are, since China ban any plastic, imported plastic waste to China, they no longer receive any, they do embargo terus. So what happened to all the plastic? We have an issue few years back that Malaysia illegally accept imported plastic waste. So this is the thing, detrimental, currently an issue right now still. And then what we're going to do about this? So the reflection from that, I try to understand what's the problem. Actually, there's already a solution, because this is a very old framework, from the waste discipline. We have prevention, and lastly, we have disposal. The green part is actually the most sustainable part, most preferred, so most green. We already know, but I want to ask all of you, prevention ni actually reflect to what? The system or the people?
The people.
Yes, meaning is the attitude. So this is where I start to understand, when you want to change someone attitude or behavior or their ritual, so you have to take that as a consideration, as one of the factor that you need to study or you need to investigate. And last but not least, when you go down below, we're talking about reuse is actually behavior. When it goes to recycling, recovery, disposal, it start to be systemic, meaning it relates to is relate to infrastructure and facility. Whether we have the right disposal, whether we have the right recovery, whether we have the right recycling system. So we already have the solution, and it's not something a rocket science. But why still everywhere in the world people are not conserving, not preserving, not preventing? Preventing ni more on reduce your consumption, moderation in buying. So all these are reflect to capitalism. Okay, so then it give me some clarity of what to understand, what to investigate. So from lots 3 to 4 years punya cerita, we have to reflect. So this is what I understand in regards to symbiosis effect. Remember, I introduced you, it's about mutualism. It means we have an interaction, meaning we have integration between situational factors or conditions or attributes or personal factor or condition or attributes in regard to perceived outcome. It's a simplified version of my output for my PhD, but it reflects to our everyday situation. What we're going to do if we want to go to school, you have to think what? Mesti you nak fikir ada duit apa? Duit poket, ada kereta tak? Ada kenderaan tak? Betul? Everyone, can you reflect? Kau nak pergi sekolah, nak pergi kelas ni. Betul kan? And one of the most important reason, you have the motivation to go. So in most literature, waste literature, they forgot about the behavioral part. They only talk about what is the best recycling solution, what is the best recycling system, what is the best incentive, but they forgot that there are human doing that, are human that we want to change in order for them to recycle. I have one colleague, ex-colleague from Japan. When he was in Malaysia, he actually collect the batteries due to the fact he did not know where to send the old battery or the battery that is no longer can be used. So he keep it until he have many buckets or many bottle of that battery. Then it daunting to me because he keep on collecting because it's already a ritual for him, because in Japan it's already there. The situational factor, the infrastructure, the facility is already there. We just follow je. However, in Malaysia, we don't have that. We are trying actually, but we are limiting on that. We are giving a lot of awareness, we are giving a lot engagement, but in the same time, we are not focusing that these two factors are very important if we want people to recycle or to prevent their waste to the landfill. So that is the interesting part of my particular study. All right, so this is when my idea become empirical. So when I look at the output of my studies, I'm using a mixed methodology. I see a very strong significance in the personal factor. So meaning that we have to have a very engaged householder or engaged end users, human being. We have to have engaged. In the same time, we have to have the capacity to serve or to give service to the society. So we may have to make sure that our recycling is convenient, mudah. We have to make sure it's accessible. Siapa rasa susah nak buang dekat sangkar? You can see sangkar kat UUM. Ada yang tahu, ada yang tak tahu ke? That we have sangkar recycling, the cage, recycling cage. Is it convenient for you nak pergi buang?
No.
So look, accessibility is very important. Macam mana awak nak buang kalau benda tu tak ada? So you have to ensure there is accessibility of that facility. And then is there? Ada tong tak? Tong untuk bateri ke all the electrical waste dekat school ke PTJ, ada buat tak? Ada ke masa program je buat? So all of these are considered availability. You have to have ready before you want to engage. Because we have all sort of waste at our house. Especially yang paling saya sedih sekarang ialah baju. Most of clothing is actually 100% can be recycled. Even yang kain buruk tu jadi kain buruk lah. At the end of the day, kain buruk become kain buruk. But again, it been contaminated through landfill. Because closing antara yang paling susah nak urai. Meaning it's very difficult to disintegrate it into soil. They are not biodegradable. So very I fear lah tu yang ada penyu tercekik, all of that are not just from plastic also from clothing clothing waste. So again, this is the one that I circle is the one are very considered significant. All right. So the thing about when I do this study is actually in UK. Which interests me is, of course, all of you will confirm. So tadi we already said that Japan are well established. They are high recycling rate, and they are what we call it consider the most perform recycle countries. But when I go to UK, different. They are developed, but they are problems. And tempat yang paling pandai sekali, Oxford and Cambridge, the worst. The worst recycling performer. Why? What is the because? The thing is, the essential is the situational factor, and also the personal factor is not there. Maknanya very low engagement from local authority, and then very low in regards on facilitation of the infrastructure as well as the facilities. All right. So one thing that I found, ni dah habis lah, dah post PhD, when I do a lot of research, this is the conclusive that I found. We are never looking at waste as resources. We look at waste as waste lah, sampah. So we need to redefine waste as a new resources. We have to redefine that whatever that we throw will be a new resources. Kalau kita boleh define macam tu, we always see or we always engage in recycling at home. We ensure the last kopek, the last disposal is residual waste atau general waste lah. So the thing is, we never look waste as resources. Okay, so why don't we look as a wastegate, a waste ecosystem? What it mean by waste ecosystem? Reflect to the symbiosis effect tadi. It means that it's a very integrated relationship between household, awak semualah yang buang sampah kat rumah ni. You are the one that giving the inputs, the new resources, and then what are the collection strategies? How we going to ensure that you giving us bersih, contaminated waste are not useful. We have to clean. It's a cost. Biasalah waste is something is tak ada very low value. So we have to ensure how do we maintain there is value. We have to educate our household to segregate, to sort their waste into categories. Macam mana tu? Bukan saya punya kerja lah. Saya bagi bukti. So the administration, the waste managers, local authorities, kementerian, they have to redefine what is inputs, redefine balik the household waste, and then we can sorted it out as sustainable as possible. Another thing that we never look into is the facility. What are the facility that is patutnya ada? Saya tak tahulah, saya nak tanya. Ada tak masjid? Saya rasa tak semua masjid, tapi yang saya pergi, alhamdulillah dia ada drop box for clothing. Ada tak masjid-masjid UUM ada tak untuk drop baju? Ada? Ke siapa tak singgah kat masjid? So tempat macam what we call common area, public areas. For example, this is I reflect to UK experience. All the facility are not near to the public areas or public frequent areas, especially masjid kat sana, church lah. Church, kalau kat Malaysia ni we have to go to tempat-tempat sembahyang, have that kind of curbside bins. Yang panggil curbside tu macam sangkar tadi lah. We have to install, place them at the right public frequent area. Another frequent area rasa-rasanya kat mana? Mall lah. Our malls. Usually over there, every Tesco ada curb bin. You boleh letak all your clothing for recycle. So kita tahu kita nak pergi shopping je kita bawa sekali. But it's not, as I said, we have to redefine our waste ecosystem. I call it a wastegate, in order to ensure that all our waste are being recovered to become a new resources. Baru last ni we call it the secondary market that we can sell it. For example, especially electrical electronic equipment waste. They have very high value and they have the opportunity to recover. Alright. In the end, what I learned, we have to look to solve in regards to conservation, preservation of the environment. We have to use the quintuple helix model, meaning that when we want to preserve environment, we want to protect, we have to ensure we have a collaborative effort between public, university and private sectors. So that is one of the reflection and the conclusion of what we call, I look back all my research that related to recycling. This is the particular model that is relevant in order to set up what we call the wastegate. All right. In the end, and the point to ponder, I very short today. I like to engage with you guys. We are socially tangent of our environment, and it is not collection of waste solution, but diversion of waste solution. Then the cycle will be infinite. What I'm trying to say, that if we can make sure the system of retrieving of all our waste as a new resources, we have to start from the source. Meaning start daripada rumah awak semua or your dorm. When you start sorting properly, insyaAllah we can protect our environment systematically. Alright, so whether we thank you for not littering ke, thank you for recycle, your choice. So there is no yes and no question. Are you for litter or are you for recycle? So your choice. Alright, before I go to the other part, first part is about ideation, how I look at nature and got my PhD as well all my research, then to teaching inspiration. So any comment, any question, please put in the chat. Ada soalan? Comment? No question. At least one question. Okay, I hold on to the question. Please put in the chat. All right. So teaching inspiration. So when I looking back at the symbiosis effect perspective from this, looking back, and I think most of the student why you study in UUM, why you choose UUM, why you choose to go for UUM, all right? We have to check whether they have a good infrastructure, good facility, betul tak? Of course you look at review kan, looking at YouTube, siapa yang buat unboxing UUM ke. So again, when it's about study, so the perceived outcome, how to ensure you have a conducive study environment. So some of you have kids, you always evaluate the situational factor, the condition first, right? And then you have to ensure that your kids have what it takes to be part of that dynamic. So believe me, when I was doing my UG undergrads, I was so shocked how they invested, the university really invested to the infrastructure as well as the facility. But I have 3 continent experience, America, Australia, and Europe, UK lah. So believe me, the best library is UUM by far. That is why the factor UUM have the best actually for me lah. My own personal what we call comment that the student should take every opportunity to use your library, because for me it's the best platform. I have problem when I go to US and UK and Australia. They are not user friendly as UUM. They have many, tapi the way they set up. So that's why I believe me, when you go out, you appreciate more what you have locally. So the key point when you are as a student, this is what I mean teaching inspiration. What I look at the student, what they want, what they actually want. They want to have their basic needs, tempat tidur yang bagus, bukan hebat, good basic needs, air ada, apa ni, elektrik ada, all these are consider basic needs, which is considered as a situational factor that either demotivate you as a student or not. So that's why it is important when I make a reflection from my study that I say, hey, gee, I think I can reflect to my own how I'm teaching my student. So the personal factor parts, I always look at Ikivas. What are student commenting? What is they want? What they wanted from me as a lecturer? So these are the things are critical when you want to have the student what we call soaring, maybe aspired and inspired student. You have to ensure both situational and personal factor are there. If not, one depreciation of one will depreciate the others. I don't think all of you nak study kalau wifi you tak bagus betul tak?
Betul, Doktor.
Mana nak kalau asyik sekejap ada sekejap ada macam base code kan. So all of these are what we call it a situational factor. You have to have that in order for your student to feel happy. Another thing, of course, you nak your lecturer okay lah kan. So saya ni kategori scary so mungkin tone down sikit Dr. Amy, tone down. So all of these are reflection. So you have to take that and then you have to make sure the relationship, the mutual benefit between, because I learn a lot from my student, and I hope the student learn a lot from me. All right. So that is my take on the teaching inspiration. So what you are required to change or to evolve? What required to change or evolve? Siapa? What? You, yourself, and I. Thank you. I hope all of you please take the survey. One of my project. You can scan. I hope you can scan. If not, I will try to find the link, inshallah. You can contact me at the address. With that, thank you. Back to the chair lady. Is there any question?
Sammy, I
Mm.
wanted to ask more to your thought. Sebabnya
Okay.
contohnya it
Uh-uh.
was a situation
Uh,
memandangkan kita orang pergi the ship before. The ship have
uh-uh.
like the best technologies inside of their campus. Well,
Betul?
ours bila pergi gym dia sendu, banyak rosak, banyak ni kan. Bagi saya nak tanya, which one will motivate? Sebab benda ni dia nampak macam kalau kita masuk sekolah, masuk public uni, it's
Mm-mm.
either benda facility yang tak bagus ni motivate kita untuk
Betul?
be better dan menyumbang better,
Uh-uh.
or masuk dalam PKT tu dapat semua senang, selesa, dia macam
Okay.
dah malas. So, which one do you prefer? The one that giving a more apa?
Okay.
Keselesaan.
Uh, no, for me kan, Najwa, is back to you. Are you okay with the basic need yang sendu tu, or you tak boleh?
Yang sendu.
So
I was
so it's back to you guys. If you feel you jenis kena ikut, you have your gym time, for me, bukan saya pernah tanya waktu saya jadi pengetua and fellow, the student actually like UUM because of course lah, the gym memang is one of the banyak complain. Tapi they like
that's what.
the idea of walking, hiking. Memang dia orang suka because of the nature itself. As I can say, it is what you take. Macam you boleh give and take. That's what is a mean mutualism. What is the mutual benefit that you get from being in UUM? Memang you pergi PKT, you rasa wah bestnya, baru semua, high class.
Even
But you tak pergi kat
toilet is high class.
tapi you tak pergi UKM.
Oh,
Cuba
yeah, I don't go.
you pergilah. Nanti you rasa alhamdulillah. So no, I'm serious. So what I'm trying to say, that is a good analogy when you say that some student very impact by the infrastructure, the facility. Some student tak. Some student they more on the ecosystem, the ambient. Macam cantik, macam frust sikit pergi Tasik Gatri kalau frust sikit naiklah bukit mana kat sini. So there's a lot of option you want to what we call de-stress yourself in UEM. So I banyak dapat daripada tu. Most of my student that I taught, they really like, they enjoy the layback kind of thing of UUM. But I agree with you, some of the certain thing we need to improve. But for me, I'm more on focus of the learning and teaching environment. Maksudnya kelas mesti selesa, wifi kena okay. So all that thing is very what we call it, considered for me important lah untuk awak dapat ilmu yang baik lah. Very good, Najwa. Good question. Any other question?
Thank you, Doctor.
No? Okay. Can I pass to the chair lady, please?
Okay, thank you Dr. Amy Azura. Boleh kita ambil gambar? nak minta semua buka kamera.
Semua pemalu.
Doctor, can I ask something?
Yes, go ahead.
Doctor,
Mhm.
what can we as a logistician contribute to the environment?
Oh, many. Good question. Actually, you have the ability to know which area in logistic that contribute to high environmental impact. So siapa yang nak pergi transportation industry or transportation sector, they are more orang kata are vulnerable lah, meaning that they are high contributor for high carbon footprint. So meaning that when you are there, you can advise, maybe change to e-vehicle or use biodiesel, or how you plan your warehouse and your distribution. So that is a critical contribution from your part as a logistician, as a student, BBA logistic, or whoever majoring or minoring. You can look into the area, the activity of logistic that are high contributor to the environment, and try to understand how to reduce that with, of course, what you learn from the class, what you learn from the outlet been given, so you can have an idea what is the best solution. Good question, Akwit. All right.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Okay. Jom semua orang ambil gambar.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
All right. So nice having you all. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe. Assalamualaikum
Thank you,
warahmatullahi
Doctor.
wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam.